Okay, welcome to a rigging video for the VMAX, which is the no cam free race sail. A lot of the things I'm going to tell you will be applicable for other sails, but this is a non-cambered sail. The first thing you should do when you're rigging your sail is get your board prepared, get the base in it and put that where you're going to be, because I see it happen so many times that people rig up their sail and then they're like, okay, my board's over there. They leave the rig, they go to get the board, sail flies away. So firstly, get your board down the beach, or where are you going to carry the sail? Get that set up, get that ready, and then when you're rigged, you can connect it to your board and put it nice and safe. No one gets injured, all right? Remember that. I've seen it so many times. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to undo the little safety bit there and you're going to throw it. No, you're not. You're not going to do that, because that is another thing I see. People are like, you see it in the movies where they throw it up like some sort of tablecloth, and it's flying around, it's flagging all over the place, and you're getting creases in the monofilm, and I'm there in the background crying. We saw it happen yesterday on the beach. It was pretty crazy. So this is what I do. I make sure the wind is coming towards the sail. This way, the sail can't unroll on its own. This is not everyone does this, but what I tend to do is get the first bit of the mast, the wind's blowing straight towards me, and I prod it in there. And then I go about just feeding the sail up. Now, if you've got a cheap sail, when we get later on, you can, stab it through some old sails. So you've got to be a bit careful. You don't want to jab it in too hard. This is the technical bit. The unroll just next to the boom. Now, on many sails, like our beautiful sail here, we have a little logo, a beautiful simmer logo. Now, this logo is not just for aesthetics. This actually keeps the mast sleeve open. So you can then push your mast over the batten, pull it up, and it goes in nice and easy. So as you're getting to this point and the wind's blowing this way, you can move around to help sail open up. We're actually rigging in quite a controlled area here, so it's not exactly like rigging on the beach, but you're basically moving around and letting the wind go underneath the sail that way. That helps open up the sail. Now you want to try and, refrain from coming up here and pulling this down like this. You're creasing all the monofilm. Like, even that makes me cry a little bit. So you want to keep that as straight as possible. The easiest way is to be pulling it from this handle here. So that's kind of what I do. Now the top is always going to be tricky, but we can just walk our way up the sail, grab it once, you're going to keep it a little bit. And then as soon as it's through the tough bit at the top, we can go straight back down here, give it one pull, and we're in. So always have your base. Again, another thing, have your boom, your mast extension, all ready to go. If these are in the car and it's over there and you're in the middle of a car park and you're like, you've done it. You've done it. And you're like making a quick dash and running back, and the sail's like, so have them all ready to go. Base goes in. I should really say, actually, when you're putting your mast together, make sure there's no carbon dust, dirt, sand. But the main thing is that black carbon dust, you look at it and it looks clean. It's usually not clean. The only way to get it off, bit of water, wipe the seal of the mast before you put it together. Same with the base. Make sure your buttons are all good and there's no sand in them. We spent a lot of time on the beach yesterday. There's a fair bit of sand around. Obviously, come to the bottom, you've got length of the mast, which is 439. This is a 430 mast, so in theory we need 9 centimeters of extension. Boom, 192. Obviously we need 192 with a boom, and that's the recommended mast, so it's a 430 mast. We've got a 430 mast. Now, I know this sail, and we've been using it for a bit of speed the last few days, which means we need a bit more downhaul than usual. So I actually put it up. I've got this on 12. I don't put it block to block, but it is a couple of cm more than probably the recommended, because we're kind of just using it for speed. If you're just cruising around in your local lake, rig it as the recommended. If you wanted to go super fast and, put some big speeds and go faster than Mark Paré, We'll put the downhaul on. Right, okay. This is, actually, I'm going to go this again because this is one of the things that really bugs me. I have got a fair bit of OCD, but not anywhere else in life, just when it comes to putting the downhaul rope in. Now with the simmer extension, it is like a lot of other extensions, the rope comes out of the bottom of the pulleys here, which means when you put your first rope in, what you have to do is come up the middle. So up the middle roller. Now a lot of people won't be doing that. Then it comes in, we've got 3 pulleys here, so actually it doesn't matter. When you've got 2, you come up to the top one, but on this one you can go to the middle again because we're going to have a spare roller. Then you go, you know, it looks obvious now. You go to the outside, down, so you can see all thing, and you're thinking, well, how are you going to get back there? But then we go through the back pulley here, and that takes the rope all the way to this side, and then we go up here, and as you can see, when we pull this, perfect, no crisscrossing, no nothing. Even when we pull it block to block, we won't have any problems, and that is a big thing. I can't stress enough how much pain you guys are causing me when I go around the beach and I see all these crossed lines. Okay, downhaul. One of my favorite tricks is with the harness hook. I don't have it actually here at the moment. There we go, harness. So this trick, I learned this from a Brazilian friend. Doesn't have to be Brazilian, but he is. So once you've got your harness on, what you can do, and this works really well, is you just come up with your hook like this, you cross it over, come back, cross it over, and then pull it back. And this way, you can put your foot on it, pull it down, it cleats off, and then you pull it basically straight to shorten it, pull it down, pull it forward, pull it down, pull it forward. You know, if you've got a bad back, you can see how much downhaul, that's block to block. You can see that it's absolutely pulled right down with no effort whatsoever. You've got no, you know, problem with your hook here. It's just a couple of loops, it's all done. It's all no problems. So that is my preferred way to put the downhaul on. You can obviously tie a bowline, which if anyone doesn't know how to tie a bowline, I mean, I got taught this a long time ago down at the sailing club, but you can just do it with your hand. So you kind of twist the rope into like a number 6, and then you do the rabbit up the hole, round the tree, and back down the hole. You know, then you end up with this nice, easy knot to undo with a big loop, and then you just put it around your wrist, you know, and then you just pull it on, manly style. So there's 2 different ways of doing it. As I'm getting older, I'm preferring the hook method. Then it comes to tying the rope off. So you're left with obviously a load of rope. I've seen a few people doing it different ways. With the simmer extension, for me, you want it to go straight back up behind the cleat. I don't know if you can see that, but you can just basically pull it straight back up behind the cleat, and then you get a nice clean thing. It's cleated in, and then you ended up with the rope. Now this is the trick here. Hand out, put the rope on, round, 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 till you've got where you want to go. And then you basically grab this bit of the rope through the middle and then pull that back through. And then you're left with a nice kind of little bunch of rope. And then this Velcro pocket, as someone said in the other comments the other day, it's not for your condoms. Well, apparently it is. Or not for your snacks. It's not for your Allen key, but you tuck it in, close up the Velcro, and then that's it. Also, tack strap. I know a lot of people who still don't know what this is for. This is just to pull the bottom of the sail, give it some shape. So as you can see on this extension, there's a nice little groove there to stop it riding up. That's how it fits. And then you can just crank it up. Now you watch this bit of the sail here. It basically pulls that in. So it depends how tight you want it, to how much shape you want in the bottom of the sail. You don't have to have it tight, it really doesn't. The speed guys I know a lot, they pull a lot of shape into the bottom with that, and then you can just tuck it up there. So that is pretty much the downhaul set that I would go on this 6.6 if I'm rigging for, you know, pretty windy stuff. I'm using this in some pretty crazy stuff. Put the boom on. Pretty simple. You can, you know, people do put it on from the top. It's not recommended. Put it on from the bottom because especially on these sails, the batten sticks out further than the clew. We're looking at the boom. It's 192. We've got this set on 192 already. Put it in, pick the sail up. Slip it on, nice and easy. I mean, there's nothing here. Just make sure everything is round. Cleat it off. We're going to come on to boom height in a minute. Move over to the outhaul. Most systems, if you haven't seen them, have got a loop go system. So, you know, sometimes you come to the outhaul, I've seen a few people mention it, and they're like, well, how's this work? There's just a big loop there. And that is why it's called the loop go. So you have a loop, you've got the knot, it comes out of one side of the cleat here. You basically push the loop up the hole like that, and then you feed it around this. So then we pull this, and that's it. It fits perfectly, no, you know, no ties or anything. And we just pull on the outhaul here. Now, we're going to come on to how much outhaul you put on these sails, but you want to tie this off. You don't have to, but it just looks neat. I'm guilty of not always tying off my ropes, but basically we're using, I think it's, is it a half hitch or whatever, I can't remember what it's called now, but just roll it around, and then come back on itself and go underneath the second one in. Just a simple, you can use anything you want, but that's the kind of one I tend to go on. And there we go, that is how I would rig the sail. Now obviously tuning is a little bit different. For different sizes, for different things you want to get out the sail, you can rig it different. As I said, this is kind of how I would rig it for super windy stuff for this sail and trying to go fast. So I've got a little bit extra downhaul to what I usually would. Like I said, a couple of cm. The outhaul, I kind of gauge this. When I was sailing yesterday, maybe we can see it in the video, so if we overlay it now, I was touching the boom up, you know, here. This is a very narrow ended boom. It's not a wide slalom boom, so it's got a very narrow end. It's still kind of probably classed as a wave boom, free wave boom. So it does touch the boom. Don't be scared of that. You know, don't be scared of that at all. I know if you're old school, that will kind of freak you out a bit. You're like, oh my God, the sail's touching the boom. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I've got no problem with that. It almost acts like a batten, you know, gives it some stability as well. We want to make sure the battens have got some tension in them, especially these lower battens that hold the shape. They just hold the stability in the sail. When you've got no camber inducers or anything like that, you need that draft to hold. You need to have stability. So if these battens aren't tensioned correctly, you will get a bit more instability. So I would say definitely focus on, you know, having enough tension on these bottom battens. We could probably give this one down here a little few turns, and we just turn that to take the wrinkles out. As you go up to the top, you just want enough tension just to take out any sort of looseness, but you don't want to be cranking them up like you would some sort of ratchet system. You just want to tease them a little bit just to take out the wrinkles. We can move on to boom height because it makes a big difference. So as you can see, the measurements down here, 192 on the boom. And this is definitely a Colin Dixon tip that I've got, because as you can see, we've got a lot of, you know, distance we can move this boom, you know, for the very short people down here to the very tall people up here. But you just watch how much difference it makes by moving the boom. So what we'll do is we'll start off at the bottom of the cutout. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, how much more tension that has now on the outhaul. You know, this says 192 on the boom, and you can just see the amount of tension that has gone. Now just watch the difference when I move this boom to the top of the cutout and we change the angle of the outhaul. Look at that, it's touching the harness lines here. So if you're a very tall person, you cannot rig that on 192. You're going to have to put a bit more outhaul on. Vice versa, if you're a short person, you've got it at the bottom, you're going to have to let a bit off. So these are just guides at the bottom to put you in the right ballpark. You've got to learn how to rig a sail. You know, that is just how windsurfing is. When you've got this much movement, no one can give you the exact outhaul you want. So just take a look at that. Depending where you put your boom will change. Those settings, if they're in the middle and they're right, if you're up, you might need to put a bit more on. If you're down, you might have to let a bit more off. Is there anything else? I think in terms of rigging, you should be good. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, but I think that should do you.